Good morning, Shemstars. Welcome to class. Hope you all are fine. Today we will start with our fifth chapter, that is Change and Development in Industrial Society, class 12th, Sociology. We start with social features associated with industrialization. Thinkers like Karl Marx, Emile Durkheim associated a number of social features. First, the loss of face-to-face relationship that were found in rural areas where people worked on their own farms or for a landlord. They knew and their substitution by enormous professional relationship in modern factories and workplaces. Industrialization involved a detailed division of labor. People often do not see the end result of their work because they are producing only one small part of the product. The work is repetitive and exhausting, but even this is better than having no work at all, that is, being unemployed. Marx called this situation alienation, when people do not enjoy work and see it as something they have to do only in order to survive. And even that survival depends on whether the technology has room for any human labor. Industrialization leads to greater equality, at least in some sphere. For example, caste distinctions do not matter anymore on trains, buses, or in cyber cafes. On the other hand, older forms of discrimination may persist even in new factory or workplace settings. And even as social inequalities are reducing, economic or income inequality is growing in the world. Often, social inequalities and income inequalities overlap. For example, in the domination of upper caste men in well paying professions like medicines, law, or journalism, women often get paid less than men for similar work. Now we move further, industrialization and modernization. While the early sociologists saw industrialization as both positive and negative, by the mid 20th century, under the influence of modernization theory, industrialization came to be seen as inevitable and positive. Modernization theory argues that societies are at different stages on the road to modernization, but they are all heading in the same direction. Modern society, for these theorists, is represented by the West. In many ways, similar to the Western model and in many ways different, comparative analysis of different countries suggests that there is no standard model of industrial capitalism. There are 2 points for that. One point, that is, one point of difference is relating to what kind of work people are doing. In developed countries, the majority of people are in the services sector, followed by industry, and less than 10% are in agricultural. In India, in 1999 to 2000, nearly 60% were employed in the primary sector, that is agriculture and mining, 17% in the secondary sector, that is manufacturing, constructions and utilities, and 23% in the tertiary sectors, that is trade, transport, financial services, etc. The contribution of these sectors to economic growth, the share of agriculture has declined sharply, and services contribute approximately more than half. This is a very serious situation because it means that the sector where the maximum people are employed is not able to generate much income for them. Second point of difference is the number of people in regular salaried employment. In developed countries, the majority are formally employed. In India, over 50% of the population is self employed. Only about 14% are in regular salaried employment, while approximately 30% are in casual labor. Thank you, Shemstars. That's all for today. You can drop your queries on the Google Classroom. Take care.